Welcome to Flesh and Pod, a flesh and blood podcast, breaking down weekly news and notes from the tournament scene, community drama, game strategy, and more. And now, here are your hosts, Derek and Logan.
Hello, and welcome to episode 103 in a row of Flesh and Pod. My name is Logan. I'm your host. With me, as always, is El Tannon himself. And also with us this week, a very special guest, because we had tearful moments on the phone earlier this week. Elaine, noted simp.
Yes.
And one half of the
that's me. Yeah,
that's me. One half of the Pitch Perfect podcast, also 1/3 of the Cerberus that is the Rainbow X Pitch League. Elaine Hamontree. Tannon, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. Got in a round of golf today. Got a good dinner. Got in a gym session today. I'm feeling good. I know you can really appreciate this.
I really can. Like, I wanted to go play around fucking golf today. I even put on the Mizuno hat this morning.
Yeah, do we both have golf hats on?
We do, actually.
Yeah,
yes.
nice.
And so I was like kind of amped to go, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make some breakfast. I had to work a little bit this morning. I'm like, make some breakfast, and then I'm gonna do it. But then I realized that there was something fucked on the seasoning of my Blackstone, and so I spent 3 hours re-seasoning my fucking griddle rather than going and playing a round of golf.
Yeah,
but yeah,
worth
totally
it.
worth, 100% worth.
Yeah,
because that thing is the best thing that I've ever bought, or not ever maybe, but it's close to the best thing I've ever bought. Elaine, what did you do today? I keep hearing about pants.
Yeah. So I went to the Renaissance Festival here in North Carolina, and I had a full circle moment with some juggler pants.
was this like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants type thing? 'Cause that's kind of what I got the vibe from the small bit of Twitter that I saw of this. You mailed someone pants 10 years ago, or they mailed you pants 10 years ago?
Right. Yeah. So back in 2013, I went to the Louisiana Renaissance Festival, right?
Shout out Louisiana.
Yeah, shout out Louisiana. Went to the Louisiana Renaissance Festival, went to a juggler show, and met the juggler after the show. And I, gave him a tip, whatever. And I was like, hey, I really like your pants. Where can I buy some? And he was like, well, you can't. These are custom made for Renaissance Fair workers. And I was like, well, can I have them? Are you going to use them next year? And he was like, I don't know. He's like, come back. How about you come back next year? Ask me for them again. And if you remember and you do that, maybe I'll give them to you. So I went back the next year and I said, I'm back and I still am interested in your pants. And
this sounds like the worst pickup line or something of all time.
It does.
And so he was like, okay, yeah, sure. What's your address? I gave him my address. He mailed me his pants. And
I had the same reaction, by the way.
I'm like,
nope.
P.O. box.
A few weeks later, pants show up at my house. My parents are like, because I'm 14. He's like,
yeah, there are so many red flags in this story, by the way.
Yeah. What the fuck is happening, Elaine? And I'm like, I just asked this man for my pants. I still have the pants. Yeah.
just what the fuck?
I'm on the way to the Renaissance Fair today. I'm telling my friends, I'm like, my gosh, I love the Renaissance Fair. When I was 13, back in 2013, I was 14. I asked this juggler for my pants and gave him my address. He mailed them to me. And they're like, what? That's so weird. What are you talking about? Did that actually happen? Then today, walking through the Renaissance Fair, and I'm like, we're going, I got a pickle. We're walking from one store to the other.
No shots.
There's a juggling show going on, and I look over and I'm like, holy shit, that is the juggler who mailed me my pants.
Guy.
That's the pants guy. Yeah, I haven't seen him in 10 years. That's the pants guy. So I was like, I got to go over there. So I walk over to the show. Immediately, he makes eye contact with me and is doing his juggling thing, but kind of keeps looking over do I know that girl type of Afterwards, he walks right over to me. He's like, hey. And then he gets his tip bag, starts collecting tips. And I was like, can we take a picture together? And he's like, sure, just give me a minute. And I was like, you mailed me your pants 10 years ago. And he's like, holy shit, that was you? And I was like, yeah. And he grabs my shoulders. He's like, please don't go anywhere. I need to talk to you, but I got to collect tips. So he goes, does his little tips thing, comes back to me. And he's like, I need those pants back.
This is amazing. This story is so ridiculous. It has to be true.
It's perfect, Elaine. Yeah,
I was
it's totally Elaine. Yeah.
No, I don't want to give them back to you. I don't know.
There's no Sir the Dude on his fucking pants. Like, why?
This sounds like an episode of a TV show of like That's So Elaine.
I'm
It's
like,
like
I
It's a Seinfeld offshoot, but it
Yeah,
actually stars a different Elaine.
like,
It's
I
just
feel
like-
attached to the pants. And he's like, you're from Louisiana, right? Like, I'm actually going to be in Louisiana next week. We could exchange the pants if you still have them. I'm like, I do have them.
you should have been like, yeah, man, I'll see you there.
I was
Like,
like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
actually-
sure.
We're not done yet.
yeah, I'm like, I live here in North Carolina now, but I'm actually also going to be in Louisiana next week. And so
Jesus.
he's like, all right. He's like, so we exchange in contact information. And he's like, think about it. Like,
And then 5 years later, they got married and had kids. Like, this is
Yeah,
like the
that's
most
what it is,
This is
yeah.
totally what's going to happen here.
so
By
right
the way,
now
I'm
the
still wrapping
debate
my
is
head
like,
around
do
the
I
fact-
give him his pants back?
No, you keep
No,
these. No.
they're now yours.
Yeah. You're past the statute of like limitation here of like
Is there
You-
a
you own
pants
this.
statute of
It's been 10
limitations?
Okay,
years,
so
like, look at
squatters' rights are it's like what 90 days,
Depends on the state.
180
depends
days,
on the
and then I think land is like 8 or 9 years.
It's 9 years.
Yeah, it's 9 years. So
on
like,
most
you're,
land,
you're,
yeah.
you're covered. Like
these
land is
true.
9 years. So,
pants, but like they don't like these are bigger than my shoulder. Like these don't fit me.
yeah, those are your
suits
Thanksgiving pants. Those are your Thanksgiving pants. You wear
Oh,
those
yeah,
when
you
you're
just
about to
let
eat a
'em
big
out.
meal. Yeah.
And they're just like, like, can you hear the dry rot of these elastic? I
No.
don't know if that's
Okay, maybe you do
like
give these back.
these
Then.
are they're old.
Maybe I'm coming around to maybe we do give these back.
Like they're so old and they don't fit me. I've worn them one time to the Renaissance fair, but like they're
If you
just
don't
kind
wear
of
them, give them back.
it's like it's just like I tell people the story like this juggler mailed me pants when I was 13 and they're like, no he didn't, and I'm like, here are the pants.
Here are the pants. Yeah.
I have them. Like it's a truth. And I fear like losing that, validity to the story if I mail the pants back. I
You
need
gotta,
to
like-
I need to sleep on it.
Oh, the pants? You're gonna okay.
Okay.
Not on the pants.
Maybe the cat will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that you were 13 or 14 years old 10 years ago. I am so
Right.
old. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
good lord.
Yeah.
Yep. I have my child is 20. So there's enough. Yeah, that's too close. Like I'm not. Yeah.
I turned 39 tomorrow. So I'm
Which-
1 year away from the big one.
Happy early, honestly.
Thank you.
Woohoo.
Thank you.
And man, it's I would say it's all downhill, but actually my 40 has been kind of good. Like Kevin,
I'm
outside of a
looking forward to
global
it.
pandemic, but
Yeah.
outside of that,
I'm looking really forward to it. I'm in like some of the best shape I've ever been in my life. Like my health is great right now. Like mentally and physically, I'm in a good spot. I've been playing a lot of golf, doing, work here or there. Just got a few things to work out, because like nothing's ever perfect.
yeah,
perfect,
no,
right?
nothing's perfect, right?
Yeah, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to next year. Next year's here's another Seinfeld reference. It's going to be the year of Tannon. There we go.
The year of the
year of
the
the
summer
Tannon.
of George,
It's the
but
summer of George. Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
God, Elaine's like wasn't even born when the show
no,
finished.
no.
I
She
only
was
know
not.
Seinfeld because when I'm like, my name's Elaine, people say, like Seinfeld.
She's
And
like,
I
is that
say,
that show that comes on really late at night on
Yeah,
like
sure.
Nickelodeon or TNT or
Or you-
something?
Or you have a conversation with Flake, and that's
There we
really
go.
that'll
Yeah.
just
Sure.
do it. You're just talking Seinfeld the entire time anyway,
I
whether
miss
you know it or
Flake.
not.
By the way,
He's
I
the
miss
best.
Flake so much. I did a show the other day in Dallas, like without him. It
Yeah.
was just so weird. Like even
Oh,
though
yeah.
it was like I got to go, do a show with DM Armada and like starting around with him. We talked about. I was like, man, this just feels right, because he was the first person that ever, we did the
Mhm.
first show ever,
Mhm.
and he saved my ass in the first show quite a bit. If anybody remembers watching that, because they were like 2 weeks before the show, they're like, hey, have you ever heard of this game? Do you want to cast it at the highest possible level? I'm like, yeah, how hard can it be? I'll download the client. I'll learn the game
That'll be
really well.
fine.
I'll be so good.
There's
in,
no
like, 2 weeks.
client, by the way.
Yeah, didn't know that, by the way, when I said yes and signed on, but should have known it when the game's just called Flesh and Blood. But yeah, anyway,
Oh.
do we have like a show to do and some stuff? to talk about?
This
I
is
don't even know.
this is normal. This is just off the rails
Yeah.
bullshit. Like
This
whatever
is
the
how my
fuck.
show goes too.
Yeah,
My
it's-
podcast, we maybe get into it in 30 minutes. Like,
right. Yeah, it's whatever. So
the
like
pants story was necessary.
It was
That's
so
it's
good.
necessary. It's
Wow,
because it's perfect.
yeah.
But
And
yeah,
for everyone who's listening to this, like in your car or on your phone or whatever, this is up on YouTube, right? Like they do get the video.
Oh, yeah,
of this.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
like, if you want to see the pants or the cat that's in question, because this is a majestic feel.
It's a
on here as well.
majestic beast. Yeah.
They are prominently shown here in the YouTube, so make sure you check that out and hit that like button and subscribe button too.
Oh, this fucking guy. This is a shill and a half right
Yeah.
I know. Look, man,
Yeah.
I'm here every week. I know how to do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
here. I also acquired like this thing, so I'm just gonna open it on stream
Ooh.
again.
Oh, shit.
And
Which edition is that one?
2. This is season 2.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So like here's the thing. We're gonna take the bets right now. What's
Mm-hmm.
in this? Your options are Smashing Good Time, Last Ditch Effort, Fate Foreseen, Art of War, or one of the two of the judge adjudicator weapons or something cold foils?
It's Art of War, 100%. We're high rolling.
Oof.
We're high
I was
rolling.
feeling Fate Foreseen. I'm feeling Fate Foreseen.
One of the good ones. We're high rolling.
We're high rolling. Okay, I have a Fate. I opened a Fate Foreseen, the first one I opened on video, and so that would give me a Blitz playset. But the Smashing Good Time was the first one I opened. I got it off a judge at the first ProQuest I attended this year, and the store order was like, "Open it here," and I'm like, "Oh fuck, I guess." And then I got Smashing Good Timed. Yeah.
I thought about buying some the other day off one of my friends who's a judge, but doesn't, he judges Flesh and Blood. He's good at judging, but he doesn't play the game, right? So he wants, to get the money for the stuff. And I thought about buying him because I was like, that's so cool, but at the same time, it's just a pure gamble because I just kind of want a cold foil Art of War. I just kind of want one for me.
Right.
But that's a good question. If you guys, if y'all could have James White calls you tomorrow, he's like, "Oh, mate,
the thing,
whatever." Yeah. He's got I should pop my collar if I had a collar.
The collar is
yeah. And he's like, "Look, I love everything you've been doing for us. Your show's great.
Oh, this is never happening." Okay,
yeah, great. Of course. I don't even get treated like this. But anyway, I did. I used to. But all right. He tells you, "Look, what can I give you? To show our appreciation. What's the one thing you've always wanted in your Flesh and Blood collection? What is it for y'all?
Okay.
It doesn't have to be the most expensive thing possible."
Okay.
Sure.
So now I'm really would love a Marvel Kassai, but
Ooh.
prior to that, always top on my list was the Alt Art Twinning Blade. They kind of look like a poker card playing card. Those are just
you just stole my answer.
Those
are the exact reason.
So good.
Because I was a pro poker player for 15 years. One of the coolest things I own is I have a poker deck where the back of the cards, it's the Magic the Gathering.
Decks, yep.
Yeah, and they're I still have it sealed. They're
so do I. I still have a sealed one.
I want to open it and use it, but I don't want to. I have to put it in sleeves or something.
Yep, you'd have to do something. But there's no way I'm opening it.
Yeah. What about you? What's yours?
I would like a 1/1 cold foil Blood on Her Hands.
Ooh.
Okay, that's a good answer. That's a good answer.
That's a good one.
I always told James, I was like, I joked about it. I was like, if you ever really want to replace me, whenever y'all finally get the Netflix series or the, Amazon Prime series, whenever it's let's be real, Flesh and Blood would make one hell of an animated show.
It'd be great.
It'd be so good.
Yeah. Can you imagine seeing Bravo and Chain just freaking ripping each other apart?
It'd be so fucking great.
Like Invincible style, just just going nuts. I would love that. I was like, I just want to voice a character. I don't need a big time character. I get it. I'll just be one of the, hey, what can I get y'all when they walk in the bar? That's it. Just, I want an IMDb page. Please.
With one entry. With just one entry.
Yeah. Or this new video they just posted where I'm predominantly in it and had no idea about it. We can put that on there too. If you're gonna use me in your video, at least tell me that you're gonna use me a bunch or whatever. It's all obviously fine. But
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna see if I'm actually on IMDb. I'm not sure. Let's find out. Well, fuck it, we do it live, right?
You definitely fuck it. We do it live. Yeah, Elaine, you have an IMDb page, right?
Yep.
I don't think so.
I'm joking. If you don't think you have one, you don't have one.
I've never checked.
I don't I'm wondering.
Is there another person with the same name as you? Because you have a very common name.
Yeah.
Elaine Hamontree is common?
You.
No, you.
Mine is spelled SEN instead of SON.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
And so it's not. So there is a credit here for something that I didn't. All of the footage of me that would ever be in this would be. No, this can't be the same one. Oh, I guess maybe it is. This was made a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cuts out a 2023. It's an 18-minute short, and I don't think it's the same. It can't be the same one. But I'm credited for something I did 15 years ago.
I was on something on Netflix for a little while. When I say on, it's the same thing that we just talked about with Flesh and Blood. They did a documentary for Magic, years and years ago, and they have pictures of me playing on the Pro Tour and stuff or whatever from back then. And I was like, I don't have a line. You know what I mean? Also, it's funny that they're in Barcelona because I'm pretty sure this was at Pro Tour Barcelona. Or it was either Valencia. It was in Spain. I know that. And
Valencia sounds more closer.
Valencia, yeah. And I just you can tell that I've been traveling for 7 days. I the beard kept. I'm wearing a ratty t-shirt. I'm I don't care. Just give me my matches. I've been practicing for 3 weeks straight like this.
I need a red eye with 4 shots of espresso and sit me down. Fuck it. That's just how we're doing this. But Yeah, like Worlds. So Worlds being a thing. I guess we have news, right? I mean, a
Quite
few
a bit.
things happened in Flesh and Blood,
Mhm.
one or two.
Eh.
But step one, we'll talk about actual Worlds tournament. We'll get to the real news in a minute. But so we got a Fi win.
Who saw that coming, by the way?
No one. Like with Bravos and Icelanders everywhere. And here's Fi just winning the whole fucking thing. Was, I'm gonna fuck this up. Alexandros Argriou. I'm pretty sure that's close.
I'm glad you tried.
I would say that's better than I think I would do.
So little behind the scenes moment here. Whenever something like this happens when we're doing a show, before the round starts, like they tell us who's up or like we know, we have what's called like a callback button, where like we can like I can push a button on the headset where like you won't hear me, my voice won't go out to the thing anymore, but I can talk to whomever is like backstage,
the producer,
or director,
the director,
and I'll just be like, how the hell do I pronounce this name? I'm gonna need a pronunciation like ASAP because I'm going to butcher the shit out of this otherwise. I'm an American from like the southern part of the states. There's no chance I get this right.
Right.
Unless the name is randomly French, I might have a shot.
Oh,
right.
Well, that's I guess Louisiana. That makes sense.
Louisiana, yeah.
But yeah, so that was on Fi. Like again, no one outside of maybe the country of Greece, was going to pick somebody from Greece to win this because, let's face it, when everybody talks about the top players in the world, like Greece doesn't get mentioned. Maybe it should. Just saying.
Definitely will now. Yeah.
So I think Greece and Hong Kong are definitely on the map now because, well, people knew about Hong Kong. Now they fucking know about Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
So the top 8 was Yuki Lee Bender, who was on a goddamn heater.
She's been crushing
up until the top 8. And then a heartbreaking match in the quarterfinals. And Shang Tsang, again, Hong Kong, on Icelander. Aaron Shantz on Dromai. Elaine's favorite pharmacist, Matt W. and Easton Douglas on Dash. Adventure Extraordinaire, sorry. Dash Adventure Extraordinaire. Pudding Tam, which is the S tier name.
Yeah, it's his best name.
Of anybody in Flesh and Blood right now.
The first time we covered him, I was like, is this his real name? And they're like, yes. I was like, all right. Like, this is great.
It goes Pudding Tam 1, Powerful Dixon 2. Everybody else is dog shit comparison.
Yeah.
Like not even close. On Katsu, and then the winners and Danielle Fraterelli on Fi. So 2 Fis in the top 8. One of them converted and then jumps to like 724 points on the living leaderboard because of that 300-point shot.
Mm-hmm.
I was really looking forward to like the 1-of-1 world champion card not being a 1-of-1 anymore.
It's going to be 1-of-1 almost every time now, the way the new living legend system works, but there's a chance that it won't. Like someone could have won Icelander this year, obviously,
right? Yep,
or something.
But that would have been a thing where if Icelander Living Legend and 600 of Icelander's points came from world champion wins.
I didn't even think about it like that. That'd be nuts.
It's like, oh, they could close 2 big tournaments. That's really all you needed. But this was actually kind of a fascinating top 8 in a lot of different ways. One, there's a lot of Bravo representation and no Bravos. There's a ton of Dromais, only one got through. You look at your country representation, it goes, you have a couple of Hong Kong, you have a couple of Americans, you have a couple of Canadians, and then you have 1 Italy, 1 Greece. And that's a really good country spread too. Like there's no dominant. I think I love that about Flesh and Blood right now. There is no dominant country, because since a lot of the shows like this, the content creation side of things, there's a lot of it that exists in the US, and a lot of the events like that happen weekly happen in the US. So there's a lot of North American bias in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not purposeful. It's just, this is where things happen. So you talk about the winners of events and they happen to be the ones that make it to these events. But anytime the world stage happens, the world shows up in balls. Like, it's real that these other countries and other continents are fucking good. And I love when the international metagame like comes together because it's not the same. It is not as homogenized as it is in the localities. You talk about like in the Asian callings and such, you see Dash win a lot, right? Like Asia, Oceania, the Dash wins a lot. You go into Europe and it's more like Chain and kind of the more hybrid combo aggro type stuff is doing really well. So Fi is a good example of that, right? And then fucking North America is just Guardian Land, and then Rangers. So, and then somewhere lurking in the shadows, we don't know where, is the Brute Squad. They're out there. They're definitely out there, and they're waiting for their chance. But what may be coming very soon. So I know that there's different ways to talk about the health of the game, right? And I think in the way that this event played out, it speaks to the positives in the health of the game. Would you agree? Tannon, you first.
So I actually do agree with that. I think it's a really good way to frame it and a really good thing to point out. I'm gonna hopefully not have too long-winded of an answer here. I think this is a really healthy top 8 for a lot of reasons, right? The diversity of the players and the decks, right? So let's talk about that for a second. The 2 decks coming in that got the most press didn't represent very well into the top 8. Like you said, no Bravo, barely any Dromai. That's not to be too unexpected on a tournament like this. Anytime you take a tournament where it's going to have a slightly smaller player pool than an open event, right? World Championships, Pro Tour, stuff like that. The metagame becomes a much more homogenized and a smaller metagame. And if you have decks that are the decks to beat, and they aren't just a tier above the other ones, because let's be real, we've had Lexi in the past, we've had Chain in the past. Those were so good they could rise above people targeting them. Dromai and Bravo, I don't know if they can rise above an entire field targeting them, and you're seeing that in the results here this weekend. So not super surprised by this. I think it's great. It shows the health of the game, and looking forward, it looks really good as well. And one of the best things that could happen for the game is Lexi leaving, and now we are out of the Tales of Aria squeeze.
No shit.
Because of just the greatest set of all time that's been made here. So it opens up a lot of stuff. So for the health of the game, yeah, absolutely big win this weekend. And some really good players making the top 8. I'm really glad. And don't take this away. This is not me taking anything away from anybody, but nobody in this top 8 already had a huge win. Yuki obviously is a big name, has some big wins, but a lot of people made their name here this weekend, and that is huge for the game as well. You've seen the same people winning pretty often. We haven't had Hamilton winning every event like we had last year, where it seemed like if he played an event, he won it.
It's a crazy heater. It was a crazy heater.
And I'll leave this on one last thing too. I kind of expected the representation to be the way it was, and then I wasn't sure how I would guess everything would play out and you made a good point here. We haven't seen the metagames of the APAC region and some of the European regions as much as we do as the American region. And this is a stereotype, but it leans pretty heavily for America when it comes to all the TCGs. We generally just play the best decks, or what is perceived to be the best deck. And a lot of us will play it a ton and run it into the ground, and like I've said in the past, when it's Bravo, when it's Chain, when these decks that are just so far above everything, it doesn't matter if someone's ready for you. Your deck's busted for a reason. But we had these 2 decks that were seen as the best going in, and I kind of just shrugged at them. I'm like, yeah, they're good, but nothing seems to be the best thing to be doing. And so you're going to see those get represented in a high amount. And I expected this kind of turnout, but maybe not to this low of only one of them made it in the top 8. So sorry if I didn't leave you a lot to talk about, Elaine.
No, I mean, I'll echo some of what you said, because I think that as far as the meta goes, I think this was a really healthy meta field. I think almost in the big grand scheme of things, I think maybe Prism and Riptide weren't represented, but every other hero was represented. I could just be making that up. But I the meta representation I thought was super healthy. I thought it was really cool. I thought that the when we were doing the CC games, on stream, it didn't feel like we were watching the same stream a lot. We almost had a Rhinar also up here in the top 8.
That's a conversation for another day.
It's a conversation for another day, but it's still true. We almost had a Rhinar up here in the top 8. We got to watch a Bolton Rhinar game on stream. We got interesting CC games, and I'm sure they were pulling interesting matchups, but at the same time, these people who were on stream were still performing well. It's not we were watching bottom table interesting matchups.
Some 5-5 player or something.
Yeah. Right, exactly. We were still watching high up top table, and they were still really interesting in terms of meta. I think, like you said, Yuki Lee Bender is obviously the biggest name up here. And then the other big names are someone who plays in North America, like all the North American players, I recognize their
Chance.
names. I
Yeah.
know them. Yeah, like Shantz, Matt W, Easton Douglas. I know these players, but like you said, it's not like we didn't see Michael Hamilton in top 8. We didn't see Michael Fang in top 8.
No Michaels at all.
Yeah,
Not a
no,
single
not a
Michael.
No
single
Brody Spurlock,
Michael.
no Tarek Patel, like none of
Right.
the
No
like
Hayden
upper
Hill, no
echelon.
Matt
Yeah.
Rogers. Yeah,
Brody's an honorary Michael, by the way. We just
Yeah, sure.
his name is now Michael.
Sure.
Michael Hamilton Jr. Yeah, we
There you
just
go. There you go. I like it.
we just I thought it was really cool, and I didn't expect Phi to win, and like you mentioned, Logan, I really didn't expect someone from Greece to win. I don't know any. I can't name a Greece now. I can name a player from Greece, but before this, I couldn't. I had no idea what the meta looked like over there, and I was really happy. I don't think a Katsu in the top 8 was that surprising, but I was like, oh, cool, like a Katsu in the top 8 along with these Phis. I feel like Katsu when Phi came out was kind of pushed to the side, and I like to see people still giving Katsu the treatment he deserves.
Yeah, Bonds is the card there that like those triple Bonds turns, you watch
Yeah.
them happen and you're just like, it's like watching somebody's soul. It's that Simpsons thing where you can pinpoint the exact moment where his heart's ripped in half.
Heard the soul leave the body.
Yeah, you can see the soul leave the body, and it's just like they let that one thing, like I got this covered, and then they forgot about breaking scales, and all of a sudden that one little point of damage snowballed into 30,
Yeah.
and they just eat shit for an entire turn. They can't do anything. There's actually an example of that on stream during the coverage. The other thing that made me sad but also happy was that there was a 3-1 Teklovas in day 1 CC, and got to see that on stream, and that was awesome. And then the 0-3 draft, but so we didn't get any more of them. But I've heard that there's some weird stuff around that one too. There's a couple of just like weird scenarios that we've heard about already come out of Worlds. One of them involving either a DQ or a double loss, but we just haven't got like the news of it yet. As far as like any official statements, we may never get one, right? Like it is distinctly possible that they won't say anything, and we'll just have to know like people that were there, if the players decide to talk about it at some point or whatnot, what exactly happened. But there was something that happened that was really weird, and we don't exactly know yet. But we do have evidence, a priori, of how unhealthy Flesh and Blood at least has been in the past, and it's called the Living Legend Battle Hardened. So it's really easy to go over the top 8 Euro spread. Starvo.
What else?
Yep. That's it. 8 fucking Starvos. And there were 281 players in the event. 112 of them played Starvo. Because if you drafted Tales of Arya, you already own the deck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, draft Tales of Arya 3 times, you own Starvo. Great. We're done
Yeah,
here.
besides the equipment, the deck's like $7.
It's
Right
nothing.
now, I tell the story at that ProQuest, that very first ProQuest that I played in Tannon, which was like my first time playing Flesh and Blood.
I was there, right?
Yeah, you were there. You were there, Brian, Andrew, Luke, and I. Anyway, I show up at this ProQuest with the Dorinthia deck. Luke and Andrew are like, you can't play that. And I bought a box of Tails and built a Starvo deck. And then that was my first time playing, and I won like 3 or 4 games. Like,
right.
like, yeah, like you said, if you drafted Tails 3 times, you have the Starvo deck.
Yeah, and simple. Like, but every slot in the top 8 occupied by Starvo. Lucas Oswald, Wonderkind, part
killer.
2. An absolute assassin.
Yeah.
Right. Wins the Prism sculpture, which I have already watched any number of, like, because illusionist people. Okay,
they're like the deepest in this game. Like yeah.
There's and I'm not immune. I know simping ain't easy. I get it, but y'all need fucking help.
Y'all need
because you need something. I mean, you either need Christ or you need like AA. Even if you're not a drunk like me, you need something, because right now y'all are fucking losing your minds because a fucking statue, an effigy of your, for your worshiping
of your deity
has wound up in the hands of some dirty fucking Starvo player who's going to sell it for cold foil money or some shit. And you're just like, man, I can't believe that happened. You know what? It fucking happened. You know why it happened? Because Starvo's allowed to be played. Like, That's it. That's the tweet. Like, fuck, man, what'd you expect to happen? Some Prism player to show up and do the thing? No.
And see, you say that. What did you expect to happen? This is actually what I expected. Maybe not all 8,
Literally.
but
Like 6. I thought
yeah.
6.
So take what I said about the Worlds metagame and flip it on its head. Just give me the inverse. So it's a small tournament, right? But here's the thing. Everyone still has the Starvo deck, right? Like you still have it. You might have gotten rid of Chain or whatever, because it was like years and years before. But like we kind of knew, like we were talking about this in the old joke, the old meme of the Discord that doesn't exist. We were talking about this like a year ago when we had ideas for Living Legend. Because so I never had it confirmed, but I knew this was coming for quite a while, because when we were doing the Goliath Gauntlet, we wanted to do a season of like Living Legend. They were like, hold up. And we were like, oh, okay, we won't do that, because we wanted to call it that and everything too. And we were just like, yeah, it's just going to be a bunch of Starvo though, right? Like, it's like what pieces of like, oh, someone will bring Prism. I'm like, yeah, and then they still just might lose, because like you could still lose because it's Starvo. And there is a bunch of, like, as much as we talk about it in a bad way, I mean, other people do. I love the deck and think that it's great.
It's my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably one of my favorite decks in this as well.
Well, until February, and then it's no longer my favorite CC.
Sure.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
I'll give you that. I can understand. I'll be quiet and let y'all have the floor when it happens. But this was expected. And here's the thing. I'm gonna take it a step further, because I'm sure this is what we're gonna talk about. Does change need to happen? I don't think so. Not yet. Because like half the field, reads in quotation. I'm sure people at home can hear the air quotes. Half the field played this deck. Also, I'll tell you this right now. Almost every player in it that you would have picked ahead of time to win the event was playing Starvo as well. And so now you have a public enemy. Let's see what happens. Like maybe some smaller events happen and some stuff comes up. Let's kick the can down the road a little bit. Let's move the goalpost a little bit before we start crying for bans.
No, I agree. I do remember playing Starvo. I mean, obviously Starvo, it never existed with Phi, never existed with a full powered Briar or a full powered Chain. And that was kind of the argument of, okay, how good is it into these things turned with the dial cranked to 9, right? And that's a valid talk. But playing in the Starvo meta, the only time that I felt really like disadvantaged playing Starvo, not player wise, but deck wise, if I sat across from Prism and I knew that the person piloting it would pilot it flawlessly. A flawless Prism could beat a flawless Starvo. And that was the only matchup that I was just like, this feels unwinnable. The rest of them were just like, fuck it, we ball. Here's 3 cards, here's 15, I don't give a shit. And that's the deck, right? Like, and then the mirrors are vastly different. And that's why that's the juice. Like,
that's where you're gonna make your money. That's where you're gonna win the tournament, is if you can win a mirror. Yeah,
it's winning Starvo mirrors, and then you get the psychopaths that play Oldhim when they could just be playing Starvo, and they are, again, that's a hard one for Starvo to navigate if they don't understand that you're just playing the same deck. So you just treat them like they're playing the same deck. You just do the same game plan, and you'll be fine. That's really it. So right now, I think that there's been, again, a lack of experimentation because people just said, fuck it, we'll just play Starvo. Well, they did. And we saw it happen. The other end of this is we have more cards coming. It's not like this is something that will never change and that there will be never anything else introduced into the game. Like, Warmonger's Diplomacy is a card that has made it so that a deck that was the single, like, most oppressive thing upgraded with a piece of equipment that they had to ban before it was ever legal is not
we made a mistake.
Right, was not quite good enough because of one thing saying, okay, take all the counters off of your weapon. It's one card. So that's where we're at right now, and I don't think we need change. We just need to keep innovating. But when it comes to the first fucking event, you bring the best thing you can be doing that is at level 0, and it's just Starvo.
I agree. And I think you brought up, like, the point I was going to bring. It was like, we have more cards coming, and I don't think there needs a change. I just think that this Living Legend Battle Hardened happened like really early into, like, this is our first time playing Living Legend. And like, we don't have that many heroes that have reached Living Legend yet. And with the Living Legend system, like, it's about to amp up, and we have 14 or 15 new heroes coming out just within the next year. Like, the meta is about to just explode, and as the meta explodes, I think this will also explode. I don't think there's any need to call for a change right now.
So how long until this living legends again? Like how many tournaments does it have to win? I'm joking.
Well, it's got 40 points already. That was
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah, that was quick. Yeah.
Like it's one of those things where you look at, so like put it in context, right? So if Icelander would have won Worlds, and that'd be 2 Worlds wins, and then hit Living Legend that way, Icelander would have had 1,272 points or whatever it is, right? 1,272, and would still be 300 points behind Starvo,
Yeah.
who never won Worlds.
He never saw Worlds.
No, he never was legal for the World
He
Championship.
never saw Worlds. Yeah,
He
He
was legal for
lasted
Pro Tour
6
1, yeah.
months. Yeah, Pro Tour 1, and lost in the finals to Pablo's heater, which is probably the all-time great tournament heater, was after starting in round 3 of Worlds, and then of Pro Tour 1, and then winning out.
He lost the first 2 rounds. Yeah, I'm gonna tell a story. I won't say any names. This is a cool story for the history of the game. Hopefully, no one gets mad at me for telling this. So there were some Starvo players who were doing really well in the tournament, and they were either right at top 8 or made top 8. Someone who had a chance to win that tournament and get the Starvo play card. I remember they were extra disappointed when they didn't win the tournament because they had pre-sold it if they had won for more than they would have won winning the Pro Tour.
Jesus Christ!
So they would have more than doubled the play. There was a collector that they're like, this is going to be the only one ever, and I want it.
That's true. It would have been.
Mm-hmm. It was guaranteed to be the only one ever.
Oh,
and so they're
my
like,
God.
if you win, I won't say the number or whatever, blah blah blah, but it was more than they would have won for winning the Pro Tour.
Sounds a lot like Saint, to be honest.
Or maybe it was a double. Again, not saying names.
No, it's fine. Like, but that's a pretty easy one to figure out potentially. You guys got to think of who the whales are and then go walk back from there.
Could have been James.
But,
you never know.
He can print his own. I don't think he gives a shit.
Yeah, sure.
So the last part of the Worlds was, I think, and this was one of the things that I saw that I was just like, this is actually fucking cool. Mm-hmm. Is the last sigil of the sigil of Sagrada event. Because it was the sigil of Solace from Spain. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
The last event that had those involved in it was a sealed side event, and there were 950 players.
It started at like 5 p.m. or something crazy.
Yep. And it is the current record holder for the single largest Flesh and Blood tournament ever. Is a random side event in Barcelona, Spain, at like 4 p.m. on the last day of the tournament.
Anybody have that in your bingo card? Because I certainly didn't.
Nope. That and the 5 space are still wide fucking open. Like nope, didn't have either of them.
So was the record before this the pre-release, the live pre-release in Vegas?
Yep, it was.
That was like 912, 907. I remember it was like 907 or 912 because like
that was Uprising, right? Yeah.
No, it was
Tails. It was the Tails one.
Yeah, because I did that right. Like
918. Was it 918?
I think it was a little less than that, but you might be right. I remember the number being somewhere like in the low 9, right?
Yep.
And because I was there, that was my first calling. I show up, first time doing anything with Flesh and Blood. I remember I played in the pre-release thing the day before, and everybody was just so happy. There's just so many people playing. It felt like any of the other TCGs I've been at where it's just huge. I was like, this is awesome, and people would be asking me, they're like, oh, how long have you been playing? And I'm like, 2 weeks,
right.
Or whatever. And they're like, oh, did you just come here for this? And I'm like, yeah, I came here for this weekend. They're like, well, what are you playing this weekend? And I'm like, oh, I'm actually, I didn't want to I didn't come out and be like, I'm the broadcast guy, but I was like, yeah, I'm doing the event. I'm doing the broadcast. And they're like, oh, how long have you been playing or whatever? And I'm like, this is it was my round one. I'm like, this is my first game of Flesh and Blood ever. And he just gives me this look like, what? And I was just like, well, I've practiced and I've learned this stuff, I knew how to play Chain, thankfully, for the tournament because that mattered. But I was like, this is my real first ever thing. And I didn't think it would hold on as the cap, but I'm glad something beat it. I wouldn't have had my money on this though.
No, I don't think anybody would have because, okay, so if I'm in Barcelona, which I'm not, so I'm still sad about that. But if I'm in Barcelona,
join the club, buddy.
Yeah, I get you. And if I'm in Barcelona at 4 p.m. on a Sunday, the last fucking thing I'm thinking about doing is jumping into a 950 player.
No chance I would have played this.
No,
literal no chance.
These sigils are going for $150 or whatever, right?
how did you get them? Did you have to do well in the event or just play in
No,
it?
I think you just had to play in. There were certain events that had this as just a
Oh, if they just gave you one, I would sign up and like play the requisite
l-
rounds.
Did
and
they
then leave.
have
Right.
that many printed? Like, did all
That's a
950
good
players
question,
get
honestly.
one? Because
I'm not
I feel like
sure.
they weren't prepared for that.
Because I actually want one of those. Those look super
They're
sweet.
they're
They're
really
super
nice.
good.
Like my collection of Flesh and Blood, like I don't have as many cards because I don't play very much, but I have a couple of like specific things that I own that are like
Yeah.
really cool. Like I have a book that they gave me that like
The lore
James
book?
sent me. Yeah, it's like still sealed. I have this is a cool one. I've told Michael Hamilton if I ever get rid of this, he can have it. I have the playmat that we used for like the actual feature match areas while we were
Oh,
doing the stuff for Channel Fireball. So I have the
wow.
like it literally says like, you know, Flesh and Blood calling. So I was like, yeah, and I told Hamilton, I was like, yeah, if I ever get rid of this, you can have it, you know, because like if I ever don't want it, he's like, why would I want it? I'm like, because you won 3 events on it. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, we use this for Worlds,
This
we
was
use this for this and this.
literally
Right.
the
He goes,
event mat.
oh, and I'm like, yeah, this is the mat we used on the table. Like, you know, I'm like, it's worn in. I'm like, this is where you want. He's like, oh yeah, he's like, yeah, I would appreciate. You know, he's like very soft. He's like, I appreciate that. You know,
The Michael Hamilton soft boy aesthetic. Yeah.
yeah, just absolutely love him. God, he's so awesome. I
Good
miss
dude.
him.
Yeah. He's one of the favorites.
Mhm.
Like Brody is like the most wholesome. Love that fucking kid.
The ham
And-
sandwich
Yeah.
jokes are great.
Yeah. There's
It's like
this
the pickle jokes for
there's this random Elaine girl who's also just like kind of fucking awesome, and
Yeah.
she eats a ton of pickles. It's really weird, but you know.
Quick shout out. Elaine was like one of the nicest people to me when I jumped into Flesh and Blood because there was a very established group of people who played in our LGS, and like I just like randomly showed up one day. It's like, all right, can someone teach me how to play? I really need to learn as quickly as possible, you know, because I had gotten the job doing all this, and the like. Some of her friends at the time were very welcoming. Some of the other ones, not so much and stuff. And, you know, like whatever, it happens, you know. But Elaine was like really awesome as well on that stuff and like really opening and helped open doors for me that were important. So I appreciate that, Elaine. And I miss you. I wish you still lived by me, but it's a good thing that you're going on to bigger and better stuff.
That's really sweet, Tannon. But honestly, like I say the same thing about you, which is kind of funny because like that, I was also super new to the scene, to the game, and like we sat in that one shop for like hours, like a whole day, just like both just like teaching each other. I think, and anyway,
So like, how does this work?
yeah,
Right.
like okay, I think
Because
we're
like
doing
they
this
sent
right.
me blitz decks, right, to learn, like in the mail, right? And I opened it up, I'm like, okay, like I'll figure it out. And it was chain and prism.
Go
And
fuck yourself.
There's no reminder text.
No.
They're like, make a spectral shield. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, what's a spectral shield? Where does it go? What does it do? I don't know. And they're like, yeah, make a rune chant. I'm like, what's that do?
Soul Shackle. What?
Yeah, soul shackle, no shot.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have a soul shackle. They're like, make this token. I'm like, I wish I knew what that did. I would just write it on a piece of paper. And then I got hit by a hurricane and lost power for like 5 days. That also compounded things. It was great. All right, enough of that story.
That's fine. I mean, it's whatever. But now we get to move on to the real news of the week.
Ooh.
And
I get to sit back and listen to y'all.
you
This is great.
do. You ready, Elaine?
Yeah, I gotta be right.
There's
You
a-
can hear
there-
the tears in her eyes. Like you can. I love this.
There's a new hero on the block in February. The name of the hero is Kassai of the Golden Sands, which is a 40 health, 4 intellect adult Kassai. It exists, and we know it's real. Elaine,
I'm still not convinced we're like not experiencing
Mass
mass hysteria. Yeah, like is this mass
She's
hysteria?
like, until it's in my hand, I will not believe it.
Right, like I'm like I just woke up on. I know it was a random Thursday. I know it was like Worlds, but like for me it was like a random Thursday, and then I was just at work, and then there was Kassai, adult Kassai, everything I've ever dreamed of, and
so it's a fun story because I'm sitting there at work too. And I see somebody, I think it was Kaz Bellerin. So Charles, if it was you, great. Posted in our Discord a screen grab from the banquet. And I saw it and I'm looking at it and going, wait a second, the banquet's happening. I think this is real. And I like, so I go ahead and just send out the adult Kassai bat signal. And then Elaine's like, oh, that's cool, because she only saw the screen grab of the young one.
I didn't even see I said that's cool. I still want to, like, if they give me an adult one, I'll faint though. And Logan's like,
all
that
caps.
is adult. Look at it closer. And I was
Look,
like,
Elaine.
then I just like fell to the ground. Like
She's
literally.
doing lab experiments, literally in a lab.
She fell to the ground and praised her Lord and Savior,
praised
James
her Lord
White.
and Savior, James White.
Yeah. Yeah, literally. That is, yeah.
Praise
Yeah, I
be.
was like, what am I
Praise be.
supposed to do? Like it, and it was like it was a rush of emotions. I was like, I'm like, I have tears. Like if I would have been actually in the banquet, and like Logan and I, we called and we talked. We were like both just very emotional. And I was like, if I would have been in that banquet, and here's James White like up on the stage being like, and a very exciting thing, and like click his little PowerPoint to the next. Like,
what was that impression? Have you ever seen James White?
Yeah, like, hey, we're super excited. And, like PowerPoint click, like clicks to the next slide of his little PowerPoint, and it's like adult Kassai's on the screen. Like I would have like hands in the air, like fallen to the ground, like like call the medics. Like everyone in the convention hall would have been like, what's that? Okay, but suddenly
She would have
there's an
fainted,
actual
for sure.
uprising.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
like, can you imagine if Elaine and I were at the same table at that point in time? They would have thought that we just dropped like an 8-ball of Coke and then just also popped ayahuasca or something, and we were just having a moment.
Like full reaction, like flip the table, like it would have been like, okay, call like a medic and like an exorcist probably.
We need
like,
an old priest, a young priest, and an EMT stat.
yeah, like
I mean,
something's wrong. It was just like such a rush of emotions that I was like, I feel so like overwhelmed and like betrayed. Like I was like,
a little bit.
how long have they had this? And I'm sitting on the internet every day being like, adult Kassai, and you haven't
They've
even
had it for a while.
you haven't
Yeah, a
told me.
hot
Like
fucking minute.
they've just been laughing at me behind
So-
closed doors. Like, you know,
I'm so mad because I sent Alex an idea for the reveal of adult Kassai.
Yeah, how did she
literally
not
like
get to
2
reveal
weeks
it?
ago we talked to
Yeah.
this. We talked
They
to
should
it
have
was-
let you
it was-
reveal it, but yeah.
So the idea was, and I'll just say it now because it'll never happen now, was we were going to do a dating game style show where you take somebody cosplaying Kassai, you have Flake hosting, and then you have the Kassai simps, all as contestants, answering questions from the Kassai.
Yep.
Right. Who then picks who gets to reveal her during the show, and then they do the reveal live. Like, or you could record it, you could do it live, whatever. And I was like, this would be perfect. And Alex is like, yeah, that sounds awesome.
They like already had it lined up.
Motherfucker.
This was like 2 weeks ago. This was recently. Like this was kind of
it's like
recently.
pretty
And
recent.
Logan sends me this idea, and I was like, I'd be okay with that because, like, I was like, if we ever get an adult Kassai, I know it's a silly thing to be upset about, but if they don't reveal it, like, if it just goes to like someone who's a big name because they're a big name for the reveal, and it doesn't go like they don't do it in a way that really appreciates and honors her, I'm gonna be upset.
Yes. So
Yeah.
you may have seen me just make like a face of like exultation. This is Midnight Choir. It's a dark sour from Sun King. I've had this one since 2020 or actually late 2019. And I've been sitting on it for a special occasion. It poured. Yeah, exactly. It poured out like motor oil, and I was just like, knew I was in for a treat. And it is so fucking sour. It is so perfect, so amazingly perfect. Like it is the type of tart that makes you like think that a warhead might feel a little too sweet now.
Ugh.
Like it is baller. And I'm so happy I poured this. And Tannen's losing his mind because he's like, "Fuck that! Like, why would you?"
I don't like sour, man. I like actively hate it.
Love sour.
Also, like, I'm so jealous you get to drink beer. I like don't drink beer anymore. I kind of want a beer now.
Well, I mean, no one's stopping you. I'm not.
I got some wine in the other room or some champagne.
Do
I got some champagne. We could
You
celebrate.
could pop some champagne.
You see me pop it and you hear me, oh, like give it a whole
Yeah,
face
just take it in the face.
Yeah.
I did stop at like on Thursday when they revealed adult Kassai. On my way home from work, I stopped and I picked up a bottle of champagne and I
was like,
I
need
did
a drink.
Yeah, I was like,
Mama needs a drink.
yeah, no.
Oh, I do the same thing.
I went
but
through
do that
such a
every day.
rush of emotions. Like it was like sad. I was sad because I was like, she looks good. And like I have a lot of mixed feelings about her looking good because I'm like, I would have played her even if she was like that adult 2.0.
She looks
Like,
very good, actually.
She looks really good. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't don't want her to LL. I don't want anyone else to touch her. Like if I sit down from someone, I'm gonna be like, "What's your history with her? Why do you
right,
deserve to play this?" Like
I'm never in favor of like gatekeeping, right? But I'm looking at this card. I'm like, if any of these motherfucking like new Kassai Simps touch our girl, I'm gonna cut their fucking hands off. And like,
I'm not a gatekeeper
so
either.
aggressive. But like that was my feeling because I've been I talk about this hero a lot. It's the only one that I have a real identity with. And that I've been playing and I've just loved everything they operate. It kind of reminded me of playing Affinity in Magic, where it's that same kind of style. You can pivot game plans. You can like kind of determine how you want to kill them. It's that kind of that same type of mental like gymnastics that are required to make the hero push over the top and be awesome at it. And that's where, and also like I made the same thing I did with Affinity. When I had Affinity put together, I had 95 cards that were set aside for the deck. And then whatever I thought I was expecting to see, I would just slot in, the 15 in the sideboard that I thought I needed, and then I'd roll out. And with Kassai, I have a box that is
the Kassai box.
Yeah, it's the Kassai box. It's 40 cards of like that are sleeved and like another 20 that are just like that will slide in sometimes depending on what I'm expecting. And I got so like I'm so sad that current Kassai is just gone. Right. We can accept that at this end of skirmish season, she's just gone. And it's heartbreaking. And so when I sat down to play skirmish this past weekend, I was thinking like the week prior before the Living Legend changes, I was just like, there's going to be a lot of Bravo. There's going to be a lot of, people trying to play Fatigue Warrior. So I'm going to throw in precision presses so that I have Pierce on my swords. It makes it a lot harder for them to block. And then as soon as I saw like one, that the Living Legend changes and two, new Kassai, I'm just like, fuck it. No changes. I actually don't care about winning this event. One, I probably concede in the finals anyway, because I don't want to add Living Legend points to the top in case it's like, I'm the one that put it over. And I don't really care about the prizes. So I'm just going to roll with it. And, adding the precision presses would have made a big fucking difference in my matches, but I just didn't. And I didn't feel bad about it whatsoever. It's just, this is what we've wanted. Like we've wanted to play this hero as, in CC for so long. And now we're there. And then we also get, so like, for people who haven't seen her, we're just going to go through the text really quick. Step one, if you've drawn a card this turn, your sword attacks cost a resource less.
Free.
If you draw a card, your Centauri Sabers are free.
Is that good?
Is that good? It might be good. I'm not sure. The second ability is once per turn, banish 2 red and 2 yellow cards from your graveyard. The next time a weapon you control hits a hero this turn, create a gold. Go again. Gold tokens, what do? They draw cards.
Yep.
So, Synergy. I love synergy. Let's fucking do this. And then even better is they gave us the Kassai specialization from the sets, which is what's made us all lose our shit. Because one, yeah, it's just a yellow, but it's a block 3. So worst case scenario, because if you're fucking not playing block 3s, that's a problem. All your cards just block 3. It's warrior. It's destroy X gold to make X Centauri sellswords, which are just allies that are 3 power, 2 defense allies that if you've attacked with a sword this turn, you pay a resource and they attack for 3 with go again. Like, what the fuck? Why? Like, we get to have nice things. You know how
Someone's
cool
have to
that
walk
is?
me through all of this piece by piece when I'm playing against this. I'll be like, wait, what's going on? Why am I dead?
Yeah, how dead am I?
Yeah.
And how did we get to this point?
Yeah.
Like, it's just so it's perfect for us too, because it's like we can't like playing blood in our hands doesn't feel like it's a thing potentially, but I mean, we just have these other things that you have to fucking deal with.
Yeah, they gave us allies. Like
that's dumb. Like, why would you do
like
that?
warrior allies. They gave us little allies. It doesn't feel real. And almost I was also a little mad because I was like, you just gave this to me on a random Thursday in November, and this set doesn't come out until February. And like
Yeah,
this is like
bullshit,
dangling the carrot, And I was like, what? I actually, Logan, after I got off the phone with you, I called my mom. And I was like,
Mom, I just got off the phone with Logan. He says hi. And
Mom, we got an adult Kassai, like crying. And my mom is like, what is happening? And I'm like, Kassai, the hero. She's like, you cosplayed her, didn't you? I'm like, no, Mom,
No, I never did.
no, I never did, Mom. But we have an adult one now. And she's like, okay,
I
very
can't wait for
cool.
I can't wait for the Dromai matchup where they're like, make a Chromai, and I'm like, all right, we'll make 3. Fuck your Chromai. Like, I've got 3 of them. I don't give a shit about yours.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe they
Tannen's like,
get.
oh, fuck off, assholes.
Yeah, I'm not liking the sound of this. This does not sound fun. I mean, depending on what kind of fun you like, it's gonna be very fun for y'all.
Right. Well, I mean, we're not talking about it this week. We'll get into it next week. But the cards with Wager are right up your alley. So
yeah. I was gonna get it that far into it, but yeah,
a little bit. Like maybe play professional poker for decade and a half. So
a little bit,
maybe. But this is like, it's so refreshing that to feel like I've got a direction. It happens a lot where you sort of feel rudderless in games when something happens, or you get like things that you enjoy doing get invalidated or whatever. But to feel like there's a direction, like I am a little sad that she actually looks like she's really good, but
I'm really sad about it.
it's weird, right? Yeah, just leave
Right,
us alone.
like,
Let us
I
be weird.
get
it. Like I get it, but like I don't.
I
understand. I can sympathize, but shut up and enjoy your new hero. That's awesome. Also, the art's fucking great too.
Oh, the art is insane.
Have you already
so
started?
good.
Have you started mapping out the how to do the outfit?
The
Elaine?
cosplay?
Mhm.
Yeah, yes.
No, I started Logan. I think he's gonna.
I'm actually doing the other one. I'm doing the initial stakes guy that Iswardi did. So is your pattern makes this giant dude with like a giant flowing white beard and shit, and I'm just like, oh, I just got to shave my head and just throw on some UV foam and grow the beard out longer, and I'm good, right?
We could do it. Oh my gosh, we should do it. Logan, you could be the Centauri Sellsword ally, or I'll be the ally, and you
just
can
get a
be
Santa
Kassai.
beard.
Like
No, I can just grow a Santa beard.
There you go.
Like that's not a problem.
Just make it like dye it. Like look,
I just have to white it. Yeah.
Someone here has dyed their hair for a bit for Flesh and Blood before. It's not that much. I regret it, by the way, but it took 6 months to fix that or more. Like, yeah, that's what they don't tell you. Is like you're like, yeah, I want to go back to my natural color. They're like, well, you're shit out of luck.
You
yeah,
bleached it,
yeah,
so no.
Very hard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I went hard. Like I full bleached. Like
You gotta go hard in the paint.
Yeah.
If you don't go hard in the paint, you're not trying to score.
Look, I regret it, but I don't. It was fun. It was a good moment. My favorite was my favorite part of this. So Elaine, that's the only time I've ever like cosplayed or anything before. By the way, the thing I did at Worlds with the American flag suit or whatever.
Yeah.
My favorite part of that is so I show up. I have it on before round 1, and I walk in the room, and so people are giving me a look, and I'm just acting like nothing's wrong, nothing's going on. I'm just like with the headband, got the aviators on, and I walk up to James and start talking to him. And about a sentence or two into it, he realizes who I am because he did not recognize me. And he's like, "Oh, I didn't even know that was you, Tannon." And I was like, "Okay, well that works." Yeah, I was like, "Good, that's the point."
We sold it,
like,
right?
Yeah, because I didn't tell anybody I was doing it. I didn't get permission. Told 0 people. I also had like a change of clothes with me just in case. Like I think I saw in between rounds I would switch out sometimes, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I might have to do another cosplay at some point in time. So keep your ears open. I might be asking for some advice or something.
Two things are.
Ask.
Oh, go ahead.
You can always ask for advice.
Yeah.
2 things are always true. You commit to the bit, and fuck it, we ball.
Yeah.
And
I can't find any flaw in that logic. I really can't.
You did both. You did it perfect.
Thank you.
That's it. That's it.
It is a prime example of doing both of those things perfect. I'll agree with that.
I just like to try to. I was trying to channel, not too hard, but channel my inner like late 80s, early 90s member of the WWF.
Yeah, like Hulk Hogan's American, or Lex Luger of the Lex Express.
Yeah, I said like brother a lot. I think if I remember right, like I was trying to. That was like the what you doing, brother? Like that kind of stuff. Like that's where I was trying to go with it quite a bit. Well, without being too American, if you get what I'm saying, without being too obnoxious, because there were people who didn't get it. Like some people chat were like, "What's going on?"
100%. I get it. Like, all right, it's time for me to shill this for the last time.
Sure.
Well, second to last. I guess there'll be probably one more time I'll shill this.
It's a worthy shill.
It's a good shill.
It's a good shill. I love these people.
Yeah, the 20K Realm Invitational Weekend, December 1st through 3rd in Columbus. If you haven't got your shit together, get your shit together and come to Columbus and hang out. I'm seeing people out there now just like asking people to sell them realm invites, which I find awesome. Like I think that's hilarious.
I just saw that on Twitter, by the way.
Yeah, me too.
It's like, shopping for a realm invite. I'm like, fucking A, let's go.
You goddamn right you are.
Yeah, fucking A, you are.
Yeah.
There is the 20K invitational, starts on Friday with CC and draft, so it's mirroring the Worlds format. Then it is a Friday, Saturday tournament. There is a 10K brawl event on Saturday that's CC that will qualify you for next year's 50K invitational. And Tannon, yes.
Where the winner is going to be Kassai, just so you know.
Probably.
At least it doesn't go to living legend points. Like,
There's no
makes that long.
There's no living legend points. It's fine. If she makes it that long. She's not Starvo, for fuck's sake. I hope.
We don't know that yet. Anyway.
There's also a 5K team sealed event on Sunday, and there's also a living legend format event that's happening for
Starvos.
Get your Starvos that happens on, I believe, Sunday, but that event will qualify you, like has qualifications to the 50K next year as well, that are on the line there. There's also a Magic, I believe, 5K or 1K. I can't remember for sure.
Yeah, there's something with Magic, and there's something. What's the other game? Arcana? Is it?
No, Pokemon and Alpha Clash.
Pokemon and Alpha Clash. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
I was gonna say, if you like TCGs, they got you covered.
Yeah, right.
Just show up with whatever you got. You probably will find some people or something to play in with huge cash prizes.
And if shit goes south, like happening in the rest of the convention center is GalaxyCon. So if you want to go meet like The Rock or William Shatner or the cast of The Next Generation, you can just walk over there.
I'm getting some serious FOMO now, so I might be
Show up,
as soon as we get off this, I might be calling somebody and being like, bruh.
Yeah.
Look, I know I'm not anybody anymore in this, but I used to be somebody. Can we make something happen?
You're still one of us, man. Like that's all there is to it. So I mean, that's
don't you know who I think I am? Like,
well, I know who you think you are. I know who other people think you are. I know who other people think someone else is. So there's a whole lot of that going on. Just don't worry about it.
Okay, I did the math on that one. Sorry, it was difficult.
It's fine. It's there's a lot of diagram.
I need a diagram. Yeah.
I need the Charlie Day whiteboard where he's just like smoking like infinite amounts of cigarettes and drawing the fucking strings. Yep,
it just looks crazy as hell. I love that.
Yep. We still have listener questions up. Do you want me to open this now or after all of that?
Real quick. Also, bring your cosplays for the Realm event invitation.
Oh shit!
There's a cash
play. There's a cash prize cosplay contest.
Cash play sounds kind of great.
Cash play.
I kind of want to cosplay cash in.
Open the pack.
You want me to do this now?
Yeah. Let's go.
Right.
For everybody at home that doesn't know, if you're listening, he has it's a season 2. Right?
Season 2. Yep.
Season 2 Judge promo pack. We've already made our. Whoa! Don't open it yet.
I'm starting.
I said it was going to be Art of War. Elaine, you said Fate for Scene.
Fate for Scene.
Yeah.
And what was your guess?
I'm not making a guess.
You're going with Smashing Good Times.
Eyes closed. I'm not looking. It's in the camera. I got Smashing Good Time again.
No. The funny thing is, I couldn't tell what it was. Okay,
I was like,
I got smashed again. So now I have a blitz
and not
play
the
set
good way either.
Well, I mean, both teams played hard, but so at least I have a blitz play set of those. If a dash database ever becomes a thing, I guess, or Datadol
ever convinces us to put it in our decks,
right? I could fuck up Datadol with that, but
that's true.
Whatever. But it's always fun to open those types of things, regardless. So it's like, yeah, I didn't get one of the super baller things, but I'm not mad. It's fine. Now I'm just gonna go cry about it later when I'm not being recorded.
I'll give you $5 for it.
No, absolutely not.
All right, fine, 10.
Again, absolutely not. Well, I'll bitch about it on FAP After Dark. It'll be fine. So FAP After Darks. At some point in time, I got to have like Elaine or you on there, because that's where the whole like say whatever you want and it's never on wax happens, because we don't record it and the only people in there are patrons.
Ooh.
This sounds
so you can say
fantastic.
anything. It's
I have
amazing.
some stories. I have some stories that I will tell in there that I will never tell outside.
Correct. Like, so we get to say whatever we want and have plausible deniability. It's fantastic. It's one of the most freeing experiences I have in content creation.
Yeah, I'll explain to everybody at home how I got the name Charmer.
Right, and Elaine can explain her obsession with pickles.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of stories. Okay.
You do. And so do I. I've not even tapped like the beginning of them on that show. We've told a couple of the details of young Logan and what he should and shouldn't have been doing. But we're gonna hit listener questions now. Y'all ready for this?
Yeah, these are great.
Okay.
All right. First one is from Pox on Us. If LSS decided to go all in on a digital client, what would be their selling point? I am going to let Tannon have this one because I know that this is for him.
Money. Okay, I'll actually answer a question. Yes, but that's the simple answer. So, as a person who has a business degree from Louisiana State University, shout out to a degree I've never used in my life.
Go Tigers!
Go Tigers! GAUX. That's the biggest selling thing. I don't think they'll ever do it because it's going back on a huge promise that they have in the thing. But let's say we're in an alternate universe where that does happen. Money, like if they run the program, it'll be great. B, it gets their game out a lot more. You have some kind of honestly, I would do a subscription service or something like that because a lot of the digital clients for card games, the market of it is horrendous. It's like
you're talking about
Moto, Arena, literally any game. I've played quite a bunch of digital games. I'm not just going to just reference Magic, but the acquiring and moving of cards is really bad for most of the stuff. So that would be the hard part to get correct. But honestly, that's the selling point is cash, and then it gets their game out more, which is awesome, right? Like it converts more people to play Flesh and Blood. Like you could play a game. Imagine this: you fly into wherever in Ohio to get to Realm Games, and you're still undecided on what deck you want to play. So on your bus ride or your Uber ride to the venue, you're playing on your phone to see if the new Kassai is good enough or if the new Starvo is good enough. Oops, did I say something to you? I shouldn't have said that. They haven't announced the new Starvo yet, right?
Nope.
Okay,
that's
anyway.
fine.
Wink.
But yeah, that's editing it. So you did this. That's on you.
Sure.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, the selling point is money. Like at some point in time, if they decide, okay, our growth is stagnated, and we don't see a pathway to grow beyond where we're at, and we would like to, we need a digital client. That's it. Like
someone's got to pay Gottlieb's salary, so they've got to pay it somehow.
I mean, do you?
It's not a lot, but I mean, I actually don't know. I'm just saying.
I don't either. I'm just fucking with Brian. Yeah,
I love Brian so much.
So yeah, it's as simple as you need to. It's going to be a determination based on, do we need this to continue on the trajectory we're on, or to increase the trajectory we want to be on to grow the game? If the answer is no, they won't do it. If the answer is yes, they're going to take a long, hard look at it. I don't think we're close to that happening. Not even remotely close.
I don't think it's even a talk they have.
Because Magic's first online client released in 2001 or 2000. I think it was 2001.
It was right around that time because I think I played it first in 2003.
So beta for Magic the Gathering Online was Invasion Planeshift Apocalypse drafts, because I played that beta for 100 plus hours.
Sure.
And I think the first set that was like the beta set was actually still like on, like was Planeshift was Apocalypse. So they had Invasion Planeshift Apocalypse live on there because for the longest time, if you needed a card from Apocalypse, it didn't matter that block, it didn't matter at all how common the card was. It was $1 billion because there was a limited amount of them in the ecosystem, which we can go back and bitch about Moto's ecosystem and marketplace all day long, but it would be unhelpful. And so Magic had existed as a kind of premier-ish card game for about 3 years ish, give or take, when that happened. We're past that point with Flesh and Blood, but you also get to subtract some pandemic years. But when Magic did it, it felt like it was less about growth and was more about getting to market before other things could, because it was very early digital. And man, some of the screen grabs from fucking Moto back in the day would just turn your blood.
I remember them quite well. I think the only way this happens for LSS is if someone else ends up owning the game. Like kind of how WotC doesn't own, like WotC controls Magic, but it's owned by Hasbro. now, and they have like CEOs and quarterly reports and stuff. And like,
Corporate daddy. Yeah.
it's one of the only things in Hasbro that's actively making money every year. Like the other,
I think it's the only thing, isn't it?
right? It's like propping up a lot of their stuff right now. And so if some company ended up, which this is not something that's going to happen. I can't see James ever selling his baby, but if that did, I think it's one of the first things they're going to be like, how can we monetize this more? And they'd be like, why don't we have a digital client? And then you'd see the Flesh and Blood video game immediately,
Right.
you know,
Within
whatever.
months, probably. Yeah. Elaine, do you have anything for this one?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I think it's all money. I don't really see a world in which this happens. And I guess if I did see a world in which this would happen, it would only be like LSS would only allow it to be used for like practice accessibility, not for like actually playing in tournaments and
tournament
like
play,
gaining
yeah.
XP or anything like that. Like I think it would be just like strictly practice. You can come, don't have to print proxies. Proxies. You can play with like people across the world a little bit easier, but it like I just don't see it happening.
No, like not anytime soon, at least.
Yeah.
That's probably my answer there. Next one is from Vintox. He asks, okay, so I'm not going to ask about the new Kassai heroes because I'm assuming Logan will already spend half the episode talking about it.
Check.
Wasn't half.
We
like a quarter.
contained ourselves, yeah.
We did a little bit contain ourselves.
I'm proud of y'all.
Like,
Thank
you know, truth be told, there's just nothing left in there. I mean, I'm shooting dust. It's been such a long week, and
I have liquid in my mouth. Logan.
Fucking got him.
I feel it in my nose now. Thank you.
He just said he was proud of you, Logan. He's like, I'm proud of you. And you followed it up with that.
I did. But, you know, priapism's a hell of a drug. Anyway, moving forward.
I'm like, my eyes are watering. Oh.
Listen, it's my job.
This is why you're the redheaded stepchild.
This is why we're the redheaded stepchild of Flesh and Blood content creation. That said, in the other two classes, we have Valda and KO in a similar position to Kassai. Do you think these two will get new versions, and what do you think they will look like? I would love that, personally. I think that we need an Axe Guardian, and Valda Bright Axe would make sense. We also, I think that for your Brute, they haven't had a new Rhinar ever, but like your Brutes are Leviah and Rhinar, and then KO. Somebody was making the argument to me earlier this week that he doesn't think it'd be KO because dice rolling for new players is not great. And I'm like, we rolled dice in WTR. And like, well, Scabskin Leathers, but that's a legendary. And I'm like, no. We had Barkbone Strapping, which rolled dice. And I understand what they're saying, right? But I do think that this is a good idea to get new versions. The thing I want the most, and I've talked about this ad nauseum on the show, is I finally want a fucking pummel version for axes, because we have Razor Reflex for swords and daggers. We have pummel for hammers and clubs. We don't have anything for axes. Like, there just isn't anything. So I'd love to have an axe version of pummel, you know? Mm-hmm. I don't know what the on-hit would be. Maybe it'd be on-hit, banish a card from hand, you know, pummel's discard a card. It could be something else completely different. Who knows? You know, they reduce their intellect by 1 on hit, I guess. You just make it not a +4 or whatever. But something that get covered up a little bit easier. Whatever you do, that's the thing I want the most out of this set. Like, hands down, second most thing. I wanted Adult Kassai, but I already have it, so we're fine there. The next one is that. I think that would be very good because we've been missing it ever since axes have existed in the game, which the first axe was in Monarch, right?
Yeah.
That sounds right.
That sounds right.
Ravenous Meat Axe and then the hatchets.
I trust you way more than me on this.
Well, that's fair. No one should trust me for anything though. But
so you drink and you know things.
I do both of those things very well. I know a lot about a lot, but nothing useful. So I do really well. I do really well at Immaculate Grid. I'm very good at that, and I can do connections like a motherfucker every day. But move me out of those things.
Baseball, like it's like
no, I know that I can't start talking baseball because this will be a 4-hour podcast.
Yeah, how long
if we start talking baseball? Like the fact that I am so I almost was ready to just die on Thursday. Like I was ready for my life to end.
Yeah.
If it was announced that on the same day we got Adult Kassai that Shohei Ohtani had signed with the Cubs, I may have just died.
Yeah.
Like it might have just been over.
Yeah.
But luckily that did not happen. My heart did not give out immediately. It was a close call though. But
I'm refraining from answering. We'll let it go. We'll let the baseball stuff go. We'll go. We'll stay with Flesh and Blood.
And but come on, baseball.
How can you not be romantic about baseball?
That's impossible.
Yeah.
But also that's Jordan's favorite movie ever is
the great movie. Yeah.
I'm a Bull Durham guy. He's a Moneyball guy. But
my favorite one is For Love of the Game. Yeah,
you seem like you'd be a love of the game type. But again, I'm not faulting any of these choices. I think all of this is valid.
Elaine's like talking about these crazy men.
Elaine's like, look at my squishy pickle. I got a squishy pickle.
It's a sport where they hit a ball with a bat, with a round stick. Yeah. All right.
Sure. I'm so sorry. Like baseball, I actually despise it. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's a love-hate thing. You like if you like baseball, you love it. Yeah, there's no in between. Yeah.
And so I think that we could see Evalda in a KO. I think that'd be great. I would love it.
I forgot we were on that question.
Yeah, just immediately veers right back. Just absolute pro.
And ability-wise, I think that Valda probably moves off the seismic surge thing, and she's more of a, throw the armor off and let's get busy in the arena type of Guardian now. KO probably just either moves on for rolling dice or leans harder into it. I don't know for sure. I would guess like a dual wield spec type of KO would be more along those lines. But we'll see. I also could see the Guardian in the arena being Yoji. He's been disgraced ever since the Emperor got killed, and now he just is a fucking Ronin that is crushing the shit out of people in arenas because he doesn't have anything else to do. He's, kind of lost it. So that would be the other one. That would be also a fun little bit of the story, right? Like, and then if part of the lore that Kassai recruits Yoji to be her second in command to go fucking back to Volcor and stomp some ass. That would also be amazing. I'd be totally in for that too. So we got a little lore in there too. Does anybody else have any opinion on this? Because I've talked for too long.
I think that Valda, I think I would like to see Valda maybe not entirely lose the seismic surge thing, but just get a little bit like more aggressive in the gameplay. And KO, I would like him to lean if we get an adult KO. I don't think it's the best idea, but I would like KO to lean into the dice roll thing because I just love when people sit down in front of you and they pull out KO and I'm like, you're crazy. Like,
and I love it.
Yeah. And I love it. And like, I feel like that is such like KO's thing, just like the chaos, the craziness. And I wouldn't want him to lose that. And, it makes KO. It makes KO players. Like, it's just such I just love the chaos of KO. I don't play KO, but like you said, someone pulls out KO, I'm like, you're actually insane. Like, are you okay? But like, we could be friends. Like, let's go grab a drink after this. You're on KO.
But you're scared of dice.
Okay, giant dice falling from the ceiling. Yes, but
Tannen's never heard this story. Okay.
It's like, what's happening?
All right. I know we told this on the show before, but we have a lot of new listeners since a year ago when we told this story last time you were on. But Elaine is a psychopath and has this habit of driving insane amounts of distances on no sleep.
I cannot deny that. Yeah.
To get to places where her friends are hanging out.
Yes.
So she drives.
Well, I'm aware of this, by the way. I knew this stuff.
She drives an insane distance to get to Columbus, Ohio.
16 hours.
And she tracks us down.
Fucking nuts for this, by the way.
Yes.
Then it's the night before. Well, this was also
that the murder cabin or whatever was it called?
I did do that. I did.
That was a different. Yeah, the Sugar Shack. Yeah,
I've done it more than once, but yeah, that was a different time. This was the Cheeto time, which
this was the Cheeto time.
The Cheetos, but
I will leave the Cheeto thing for after dark.
I drive with Cheetos, a car full of Cheetos and me, 16 hours. So then I have not consumed anything except Cheetos for 16 hours in the car. All right.
She refused to drink anything because she didn't want to have to stop for bathroom breaks.
Yeah.
So she only stops for gas in the 16-hour drive. And she gets to the casino and she looks like you've driven 16 hours on nothing but Cheetos. And when she walks in the door, and
I don't like Cheetos.
It's incredible. She sits down and I'm across from her and all of a sudden she goes, "Oh God, those people." And I turn around and I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" She's like, "They're going to get crushed by those dice." And I'm like,
Is it just giant dice in
Are
the
you talking
casino?
about the dice on the video board that aren't real?
Just flipping out. You need to sleep, honey.
Oh, and
honey,
she's
you need
like,
to sleep.
oh, they look so real, and I'm like,
This reminded me. I have a similar one where one of the times, like when I first moved to Las Vegas, I drove from Baton Rouge to Las Vegas to move some of my stuff in my car. I made it to where so there was a SCG Open, like a Magic event going on a certain weekend in Dallas, Texas, and I was like, you know what, we're going that way. So like
ish,
I
yeah.
stopped, so I stopped to play it, and I actually convinced my friend who I'm moving in with. He like owned a house in Vegas. Jonathan Job. You both.
Oh
both
yeah, I know him.
Yep.
Yeah, my hetero life mate, Jonathan Job, one of my favorite people in the entire world. I was like, hey,
shout out to Kayfabe Games.
Yeah, Kayfabe Games, absolutely, yeah, just awesome.
Kayfabe cards, yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome. I convince him. I'm like, hey, like, come make this car trip with me. And like he's the kind of guy like he's like, yeah, fuck it, we ball. Like he's like, yeah, you're my boy. Like obviously we're gonna do this. So he flies into Dallas to play in the tournament or whatever. He's like, I'll bring you a deck. He brings me a deck sleeved up in like Las Vegas sleeves, and they talk about it on camera because I get a feature match a couple times that round where they're like, yeah, Tannon's here playing this event as he's moving to Las Vegas, and one of the guys is like, wait, he's like moving right now, and he's like, yeah, he like showed me a picture of his car. It is filled to the brim with stuff.
Was this Cedric and Pat?
Yeah, it was Cedric and Pat.
Okay.
Yeah, and so they're just going off about this, and so we end up just and we're the kind of people that we get up that morning, Monday morning or whatever, at whatever time, and we start driving, and we're not stopping. We're going to get gas, we're going to use bathroom, we're going to get food. We're not stopping for a hotel, nothing. We're driving the whole 24, 26 hours, whatever. Like straight through Amarillo, straight through everything. Like my favorite part is when you get to the north part of Texas, it tells you to go west, and it says, stay on this road for 2,400 miles. Yep. Yeah, whatever the number is. But we also, this is back when we had CD players in your car and stuff like that. We listened to 1989 from Taylor Swift, and that was the only thing we listened to the entire time.
Oh my god!
And so like we got very intimate with that CD. So like he was like, "Can we change this?" Like, no. We're on mono Taylor Swift control here. Like, just we're locked. And so it was pretty nuts.
Elaine, you might be the only person who like understands, because like I don't stop, I just drive. Like one thing,
we're getting there.
We're getting there. Like
the
GPS says it's gonna take 12 hours, it's gonna take 12 hours. I have a rule where
I'm beating GPS. That's a challenge.
Yeah,
when they tell me it's 12 hours, I'm like, challenge accepted.
It's 10. It is now 10.
My rule, and people don't like taking road trips with me, because my rule is like, if we're going to
along.
stop, we have to have X plus one reasons to stop, where X is the amount of people in the car.
You're peeing out the window.
Yeah,
right?
Like we're not stopping unless we need gas and everyone has to pee. Like,
right.
X plus one. If there's 4 people in the car, we need 5 reasons to stop. Like, I'm not stopping.
Elaine, did we just become best friends?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Next road trip, definitely getting Elaine.
So Elaine, a CD is short for compact disc. Mm-hmm. So music used to be stored on physical media, and they were etched with a laser, which is a type of beam. And then it stored information on the disc, and then a separate laser in a player would then read the information and then translate it into whatever form of media it was at the time. So like you had a disc that would have video on it, and you'd have discs that had music on it. And so in this case, the music disc had Taylor Swift's entire album, I Know It's a Stretch, 1989 on it. That's how that worked.
That was way above my head.
Just wait till we try to explain cassette players to her.
Oh, I'm not doing.
We had to rewind it.
So these are things called magnets.
I know. Everybody was like Googling, what the hell's a cassette?
What the fuck's a cassette?
Yeah.
But next fucking question. Next one's from Blazestorm, a valued member of the Patreon. Blazestorm says, hey, everyone, valued member Blazestorm here. They are correct. Why did Heart and Crossstraps get banned in Blitz? I mean, I do understand why it is overall, but what got it banned? My poor Katsu could really need it. Motherfucker, if you get it, then why are you asking the question?
Yeah, I feel like he answered this in the asking. Yeah.
Jesus, because Blitz is a 20 life format, and free resources that you can count on are fucking busted. Like, no. It's hard pass. That's How many times in a Blitz game I imagine that you played some amount of Blitz before, Tannon.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite
And
formats, believe it or not. I actually like Blitz.
I love Blitz.
how many Blitz
Well,
games have you had that you actually got to take 2 counters off of a tunic?
Like a bunch, but it was only because I played the Oldham deck in the Blitz team
Sure.
calling and like went undefeated with it. So I got to play a
Yeah.
lot of rounds, and like that was, it
Right.
was made to. Other than that, I actually Elaine was there when I first started getting like really good into the really big into the game, started talking about stuff. And I remember talking, it was like me, her, like her boyfriend at the time, Brian and stuff, and we were talking about Blitz a lot because we had a local event where we did a Blitz thing, and we were like, we don't want to play Tunic in like any of our decks. And like Elaine was like, yeah, like why would you? You could just block 2 or something and maybe get a resource, because especially if you had something like Card Trap or whatever, like you wouldn't get a turn in some of the games. Your opponent might just kill you on 1. Like, so that's why it's gone. It's we joke about this with like Magic and stuff, and then like certain cards in Hearthstone, in Flesh and Blood, when you look at them, same thing in that game too, where it's like this card has never done anything fair ever.
Right.
So like, let's just get it out of here. Like it's never made a play experience better. It's only made it worse. And so like you see some bans in games, like Joining Brutality stuff. It's not about the card itself being too powerful. It's about the game experience it creates and how negative that can be.
Blazing Shoal.
Yeah, there you go. Very good.
That's best example I can think of.
Like, card sucks, except when it kills you on 1.
It kills you on turn 1. It's pretty good, but otherwise it's bullshit. It's just not good.
Right.
But
it says, the question also says like poor Katsu could probably use it. Like it more than Katsu could use it. That's why it's not
being
there.
That way, they're like, you're not allowed to play this card unless you're Katsu, and you're like, what are you trying to say about my hero, bro? Like,
right.
And the Michael Jordan meme, and I took that personally, that kind of thing. We said Katsu top 8 worlds, whatever. Anyway,
well, I heard Isaiah Thomas called me a bitch, and I took that personal.
Elaine, these are basketball players from our youth, and what they did was they played a professional game in a league called the NBA, which means the National Basketball Association, and they were really, really good. One of them was so good he got his own tennis shoe.
Several of them, and they still make them today.
Yeah.
Wow.
But fuck you with Katsu.
History lesson today.
You're just
Elaine,
like,
I love you. You're such a good sport.
Yeah, you really are. But I want my free surging strike. What's so wrong with that? Get fucked.
Look,
that's what's wrong with that.
The next time something like this happens, just remind us that you're in your 20s and we're on the other side of. We're almost both on the other side of 40.
The other side. Yeah, it's not even really a thing. But the last question. Let's just get out of here.
Sure.
The last question's from Big Lou. With American Thanksgiving happening this week, I had to ponder, if you threw a Thanksgiving-style dinner with the heroes of Wraith, who would you trust to bring what dishes for the dinner? Who would try to start the football game out back? Who would start the political current events debate? Who's there for dessert and bouncing to go shopping? And what other tropes you can think of? So for our internet,
piece by piece or what?
Well, so first off, like for anybody that might not know, because we do have international listeners. Mm-hmm. Thanksgiving is this monument to consumerism in America, where we all all just gun it for gluttony. And you might think that Americans are gluttonous to start. You ain't seen shit.
My favorite sin.
You see us on Thanksgiving, and we are fucking next leveling.
The goal is to put yourself into a food coma. Like you actually want to take a nap.
Yeah.
You want to put yourself down. We have studied the effects of tryptophan in turkey to the extent that we know exactly the amount we need to go the fuck to sleep. We take this shit seriously. There have been fist fights that broke out over the stands of pecan pie, the stands of pumpkin pie, and the stands of sweet potato pie. I have seen some shit.
What is Thanksgiving without the fights, though?
No, it's not boring.
It's not Thanksgiving.
It's not Thanksgiving. So the idea of it is to give thanks. The reality of it is it's to eat as much as humanly possible and then go and try to fight hordes of people to achieve deals that are 5% better than what you could have had the week before.
After coming out of the food industry.
So you and I are baseball fans. We love statistics. This is one of my favorite things every year that comes from Thanksgiving and how ridiculous we are in America. According to the National Fire Protection Association, when turkey frying goes wrong, it causes on average 5 deaths, 60 injuries, and more than 15 million in property damage each year.
Oh my gosh.
So think about this holiday that we're gonna celebrate that we were just talking about. 5 people will be here at the end of it. 60 are going to take some serious injuries, and over $15 million is going to be damaged in homes from frying turkeys.
Cooking American Thanksgiving has a mortality rate. That is all you should know about Thanksgiving, and it is, and I'm here for it.
If you Google this, don't go to the video section.
Oh, Jesus! You actually get to see literal dismemberments. It is some shit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
this is great. This question is actually really, really good.
It's really fun.
I think I would say that I trust everyone to bring a dish except for Reinar. He definitely shows up, eats, and leaves, or passes out.
Oh, yeah. He's. I don't know about I trust everyone. Okay, so
I just want to bring something. I don't know if it's edible.
Like Levia, though? Would you eat?
No, she's gonna bring something. You'll never eat it.
She's gonna bring a blood pudding.
Right, blood pudding. Right. And
something along those lines, and a dark beer. She'd bring like a dark beer,
and then Briar's gonna bring like some salad and try to convince everybody to be vegan.
Yeah.
So
turkey's murder.
Yeah. Well, Elaine eats birds, so she is totally happy with that. I think we lost Elaine. That's the best part. She's been frozen like that for a minute, but we'll see if she comes back. She might not.
Oh, Elaine's frozen. No. Okay. Well.
Yep, she died. Okay, that's fine. We can finish this ourselves.
We can try to finish this. All right. Who starts the football game out back? It's probably some of the people you'd think, like obviously like Bravo, Oldham, the big burly guys.
Yeah, the ones that want to hit somebody.
Yeah.
I think Valda might be the one that starts it.
That's actually really good. Yeah.
She wants to get at somebody.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely a good one.
So I think that's who starts the football game. The political current events debate. Oof. I mean, yeah, that's one that makes most sense.
Somebody from Volcor or Savrali or something.
Phi starts arguing with Max about communism versus anarchy, and why a commune socialist is better than a straight up anarchist. And then Max is arguing non-anarchist points because he's not a real anarchist. He's just the construct of an anarchist that is defined by fucking LSS and screwing this up and giving anarchists a bad name.
Damn.
There's I will go at them about that shit because that is a fucking trope and it is shitty. But who comes in on like the other side of that debate?
Prism.
Like,
any of the prisons. She's just like, well, that, or she'd be like, let's all just get along. It's Thanksgiving. Like, she would try to placate stuff. I think.
So we call Prism a cop, but we've determined that Bolton is a mall cop. He's Paul Blart, the mall cop.
Okay.
And so he's the one that comes in with like the fake authority, trying to argue for like the fascist side of things.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is, I defend this country all the time. Bitch, you try to stop teenagers from shoplifting and you're bad at it. Stop talking.
Would Oldham be the uncle that always is like gets too drunk and like starts a fight or says something inappropriate? Would Oldham be that one?
Oh,
or would that be or that be Chain?
It's a good question. Who would that be? I think that might be Chain.
I think it's Chain or Oldham would probably be the ones that would be the most inappropriate.
Yeah, I think that's Chain.
Who's there for dessert and bouncing to go shopping? Everyone.
Yeah, well, definitely Lexi.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, she is 100% that
she's
fucking
flake.
person.
Yeah, she's a flake.
She has flake out. Like, she had the card. It's in her. It's in her wheelhouse.
Flake. I mean, she is a flake.
She's not flake. She is a flake. Flake is not even. Well, sometimes he's a flake, but most of the time, flake is not.
He's a robot. I hope he listens to this because he'd get that joke. But
he actually does listen to it every week.
Okay, well then he's a Bastion, and he'll get that joke.
Fair enough.
Are you an Overwatch fan at all?
No. It's
if you played Overwatch, you get it. We play Overwatch like 4 days a week. It's unhealthy how much we play.
Yeah, I have I have to kind of pick and choose, and I've been I've been doing a lot of board gaming lately.
Jealous.
Playing a lot of Frosthaven, and then I like big campaign style games. And the craziest one I've had fun with was Kingdom Death Monster.
I've heard that's good.
Holy shit, is that game deep? It is a fucking lot.
Speaking of a lot, who would be like the head of the dinner? Like who would be like carving the turkey? Who'd be like the dad figure? Is it just Bravo, or do you think it'd be somebody else?
No, it'd have to be Oldham, right?
Yeah, maybe. He seems like he might just be like too nonchalant.
So you'd have crazy Uncle Genus, who sits around.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Him definitely would be the crazy guy. Yeah.
And then as soon as things like light up, he's the one that's like going, like hitches himself up and kind of, just
He would
stretches his
steal the
back.
silverware too. He would definitely steal the silverware.
Sure, because somebody. I mean, he's gonna sell it, but yeah,
Yeah.
he would steal it.
Yeah, he would definitely steal some shit. Like, what's another trope that you can think of for like Thanksgiving that always happens? Like,
That's a good question.
like who's the person that's like least likely to show up? Like, what hero would you think would be the least likely person to show up?
Azalea.
Okay, I like that answer.
She's just not gonna do it.
Yeah, like she's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I like that.
We're not gonna get out of bed.
That or the like any assassin too, like any kind of assassin player maybe.
Well, we're going to Azuri's house. That's the thing, because so she's the one that's forcing people to come to her house because she refuses to go.
She's like, I'm not going anywhere. We're doing it here. That was me, by the way.
We're not doing it. Like, it's fine. Like,
yeah. We also, my ex-wife and I, we had like the newest house as well, so we're like, yeah, come trash our house.
So who's the person that is bad at cooking, and who's the one that insists on taking over?
Riptide would insist on taking over.
But who's the bad cook? Who's the one that like, okay, get the fuck out of the kitchen. You're fucking this up.
The machines. Anybody.
So Dash, like Dash would probably be.
Experience. Yeah, they can't taste it.
Yeah, right. Like, so like
they can't like take a taste of the gravy or whatever.
Right. It's like my aunt's the worst, and like I shouldn't say it. I love her to death. I actually love my entire family, but she makes the most watery, tasteless mashed potatoes in history. Like, doesn't salt the water. Doesn't boil, doesn't
There's
boil
no
it
starch.
all off.
Like,
it's right. It's just like eating porridge. It's just, you don't do it. And so the last time I was last time that we were like, that we did this as like a family thing, I was like saying, learn to cook your fucking potatoes. And she was like, oh, you're so good, you do it. And I'm like, okay. And so I whipped it up and a little garlic mash, add a little bit, a little bit of oil for crisp, let the water come off of it. And she's just like, oh, I'm sure these are better. And she eats and goes, fuck.
Yeah,
that's way better. And I'm like,
that was the moment her soul left her body.
Right. I'm like,
call back.
But
yeah,
well,
let's say, yeah.
I think we can be done. Well, go for it. You do you.
Well, one more. Who's the person? Because this is me. Who's the person that eats a bunch in the first meal, either takes a nap or just veges on the couch, and then rallies for like another big meal? Is that like?
Oh, I think that's because that's me too.
Yeah. Because or like
that's Bravo. He goes from Bravo to Bravo showstopper to Bravo star of the show. He has a 3-ball in him.
Because I'm the kind of person, I'll eat the full meal at first, and like, let's be real, I only take a little bit of turkey in the first meal because the sides are really the best part, right? And then for the second meal, when I come back, we're getting a giant turkey sandwich. I'm taking a big ass turkey sandwich with a bunch of stuff, and then a bunch of dessert.
Yeah, we're going first meal, a bit of turkey, mostly sides, giant hunk of pie. Right.
Oh yeah.
We're going hard. We're going hard in the paint on the pie on the first meal.
I'm crushing my diet this week.
Oh yeah. The second meal is the plate goes in the microwave for 45. We're taking a giant slab of turkey. We're smothering it in gravy, and we're ignoring the potatoes. Max stuffing.
Max stuffing and any bread that we can get.
Yeah, and then give me 2 rolls and let me go. Croissant rolls or like King Hawaiian. And we're bolting that shit down. And then we're going down again. And then we're popping back up like the fucking Undertaker. And then we're walking back over for cranberry, pie, potato, little bit of turkey. And then we're calling game.
Mm-hmm. When I could actually have it, I used to put ice cream on the...
I can't either.
I can't either, but you put a little bit of ice cream in the pumpkin pie.
It's great.
That's some good shit.
Pumpkin a la mode. Fucking masterful. Like, that's just the shit.
Are you more pumpkin, or are you more like apple pie, traditional, or what?
Pumpkin pie. Just
I like them both. We have like a really famous pie shop here in Baton Rouge that I go every year, and I get they make a chocolate pecan pie. Ooh. And it is so good that I only allow myself to eat it at Thanksgiving because I will bring when I talk about how good this is, I buy 2. One is brought and like everyone can have it, and I'm like, I get at least half of the other pie. I'm like, I will fight you. Like hands will be thrown.
Like, that sounds like me at Jack Stack in Kansas City, where it's like, I need a carrot cake for here. I need 3 to go.
Yeah,
and
one
it's just like
make it home.
Yeah, it's just like one might go in the car.
Yeah,
the other 2, if anybody fucking touches them, I will murder them. I will commit an actual felony right now.
Just call the cops.
All right, so let's get the fuck out of here. Sure. Let's thank some patrons. How does that sound?
That sounds awesome, since they're the best.
They are the best. Our associate producers are Alex, Andy, Chris W, Sindra, Donnie, Kenny, and the Salty Sea Cat. Our executive producers on Up are Blaze Storm, valued member of the Patreon.
Valued.
Dom, Jacob Knightling. Okay, I gotta get into it for this one. This takes me a minute. I gotta snap it up a little bit.
Stretch it out.
Get spry.
Don't want to pull anything.
Lance good thrust. Matt Two
Nice.
Tokes, Pox on us, Papa Mike, Philip, Richard, Taylor, and Trevor. If you're interested in joining the Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/fleshandpod. Link is in the show notes. I think there are 6 tiers. I don't fucking know. But all of the paid tiers get you into the Fap After Dark sessions, which are the once a month non-recorded shows that we will say whatever the fuck we want in. So if you think I'll say anything I fucking want to on this show, join the Patreon and come hang out after dark, because there are things there are things I don't say on this show, oddly enough. If you need to contact the show, you can find us on Twitter at FleshPod. I have not made a Blue Sky for this one yet because I can't figure out how to add accounts. So whatever, I'm an idiot.
Boomer.
Fuck off. And
I am too. It's cool.
It's fine. But so then you can also just email us at fleshandpod@gmail.com, or you can join the Discord. Links in the show notes. There are all kinds of crazy fucking channels in the Discord. Like I just got a message from Elaine who says her internet cut out. So great, that happened. But you have the Kierkegaard's Corner, which is for us to discuss existential dread. You have the Brews channel, which is just discussing various libations. You have cooking channels. You have a film channel, and now we have the channel created called Simpin' Ain't Easy that you'd have to kind of apply to, but that's the Kassai Brewing channel. So we have a lot of things going on over there. So hop on in, say hi, and talk some shit. That's basically that's all we ever do in that Discord. Tannon, where can they find you?
If you need to find me, the easiest place to find me is on Twitter under the Tannon Grace.
The Tannon Grace.
Yeah.
And you have additional podcasts too, don't you? You have MTG Rants.
MTG Rants, yeah, it's one that I do almost weekly. Like we get about 3 episodes out a month, sometimes 4. That I do with Ross Merriam. It's mostly about Magic, but like I said, we spend the first 30 minutes talking about whatever we want to talk about.
Right,
every episode.
It's this show, but Magic, and then
it's my therapy, man.
I'm sitting here right now.
Me happy. I do what makes me happy.
That's exactly correct. And then you also have Wampa Radio, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah.
If you need to find me, the easiest thing to do is on Twitter. It's just at Logan Peterson. That's my socials everywhere because I need to be accountable for the stupid shit I say. And but the easiest way to find me in the Discord, honestly, I am also the person in charge of all the Flesh and Pod socials. So if you see somebody respond with the Flesh and Pod tag, it's just me. That's about it. So thanks for hanging out today. And you know what? That's 104 in a row next week. We have never missed a week of this fucking show. And
impressive.
I mean, we have the Iron Man record, and I'm pretty sure we're not going to get broke. Like, no one has a start that is close. So the only ones that were pseudo close were Manor for a little while, then they broke.
I'm not breaking it. I'm not breaking it. So.
God no. I think the first break's going to come after 105, because that'll be 2 years and a week straight. And I can't wait for. I mean, we do our best, man. But so yeah, we will see you next week where we get to talk about all the other listener questions and wagering. So that's all we got for this week. So see you next time. Bye.